Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Marjolaine. I'm a French Canadian woman. So, as you can see, my English is not my first language. So, today I want to address Joker Folie 2. Okay, I'm gonna go with the flow. I don't know really what I'm gonna get out of that, but there's a lot going on in my mind about that. Um, so first of all, I'm gonna introduce with the video Joker when fiction becomes a path of transformation. Why am I doing that? It's because I don't think you can understand my perspective before watching this video that I did.
Hi everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Marjolaine. I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. As you can probably hear in my accent, I speak French. So I just hope that my English will be okay. So obviously in this video I'm going to talk a little bit more about why this movie Joker impacted me so much, and as you can see I think I really like the movie. And reasons why I cosplay the character so much, so often. Like what are for me the meanings in the movie, but also the links that I'm making with my own personal life. The way that I reacted at the cinema when I saw the movie. Also how I want painting from Gary, well, not Gary, but the actor that made Gary leak. I won the contest, and how after it really saved me in a lot of ways. The movie itself, but also how I use this tool, how I transform myself with a lot of different things, makeup included, how I challenge myself. And also mostly like when I saw that Phoenix was coming to Montreal, and how I met him. But this is completely another subject that I will keep for another time. So for now, the only thing I can say at first is trigger warning, because there will be mentions of abuse, severe depression, suicidal tendencies. There will be like many different type of abuse, and also spoiler alert, because obviously I'm gonna talk about the movie and how my life is a lot of the same in details. So basically I was mostly born into severe poverty. My father was there physically, mentally yes and no. I was mostly absent and scared of my mother. My mother was mostly the one who was very physically, sexually, mentally, any way possible abusive. And it really took a toll on me. From as far as I can remember, I always felt alone my whole life. Mostly after I became a people pleaser, because that's how I was used to behave with my mother, and I was always scared of conflicts and just saying the opposite as her. So I was making sure that everything was okay in all time. She was also always asking me if she was pretty. She was always in need of my approval, and I didn't have a mother really because I had to behave like a mother. My mother was mostly the one who was very physically, sexually, mentally, any way possible abusive. Yeah. And it really took a toll on me. From as far as I can remember, I always felt alone. I became a people pleaser because that's how I was used to behave with my mother, and I was always scared of conflicts and just saying the opposite as her. So I was making sure that everything was okay in all time. For as long as I can remember, she always was putting me down. She was telling me that I shouldn't have been born, that I was a mistake, that I was too fat, that I was too skinny, that I was not enough this or too much. I was too much of this. She forced me at 16 years old to go to her friend's place. There's not a lot that I can remember. It's really blurry, but yeah, I remember some seconds of the incident. You know, in order to cope with the reality that was mine, the harsh reality, you know, I was going home and I was getting abuse, any kind of abuse, from my parents, and I couldn't be able to study because I was going through severe agoraphobia, social phobia too. So I was going back to school the other morning, and I had to go through severe bullying that made me sick from both sides, and I just, the teachers weren't doing anything, so they just sent me to the cafeteria to do my homework for the whole time. So they never resolved the situation. But in order to cope with that reality at 16 years old, and that's the age that my mother forced me to go to sleep with her friends. And this is blurry, but I can remember that I was in the bed with my mother next to me and the guy on top. And it happened a few times. And if you ask me why it happened, and if you ask me if it was for money, no. I'm not saying that it's excusing my mother really suffered a lot, and she went through severe bullying herself. She never resolved any of that, so she was really always asking me to prove her that she was beautiful, to prove her that, like, to tell her that she was beautiful, that she, like, to make sure she was not fat enough, but I couldn't tell her like anything wrong because I had to act like a mother with my own mother, and I was hypervigilant all the time because I was just too scared of confrontation, because confrontation has a price, violence. And the amount of times that she was just telling me how ugly I am, or slutty I am, too fat or too tiny. But yeah, what I wanted to say is that she was in competition with me. She wanted to make sure that I was uglier than her. Yeah. Do you know the impact that it has on someone? Do you know the impact on someone that it has to get told that, I don't know why I didn't get an abortion. You wouldn't be in front of me standing.
being told that by your mother. At 16 years old, when she forced me with a knife to go at her front place, and when she was beating me over and over again, at one point, I was in danger and I wanted to kill her. I didn't. But I was really out of my mind. I didn't know what to do. In order to survive, I went to a friend's place. I was completely frozen. I'm trying sometimes to remember, but I know that if I don't remember, if it's because there's a reason. Right now, I'm still struggling, severely poor. I'm going through severe poverty. I don't have access to therapy, judge, and I still get told that I should be more positive. I still get told that I'm a downer because I'm expressing my own mental health issues. My mother was not like Penny with Arthur. She was not like, oh, you're born to be happy and make everyone laugh. No, I had to be smiling and not depressed in front of her, because if not, it was making her depressed and it was my fault. So I have been living with a lot of shame, hypervigilance, and my mother died in 2016 and she never apologized for what she did. I kind of broke down at that time because I was having the hope that she would say sorry. But on the phone I just told her, it's okay, I just want you to leave without pain. You suffered enough. So right now, it's been 15 years that I'm struggling with poverty, mental health, in a government that is neoliberalist, removing all the possibilities for me to improve myself, removing the possibilities of getting found for school. And people are just like, oh, but yeah, but you can ask friends to help you, you can ask family, and I don't have people who can help. Food banks are closing because they don't get enough funding from the government. And I have so much food allergies that I cannot get food from there. And I get him cut from welfare again. And I will have enough for rent and after. It's getting to the point that I'm spending days without eating. And I'm getting told, yeah, but you're in Canada, this cannot happen. You can go to the CLC, you can go to the hospital, and each one of the places that I've been told that I can go to, people don't know. And I'm tired of just defying myself when people are telling me it is not true. And all the resources, when you go on the websites, they're showing me, there's this resource or this one. When you go there, they cannot help you because there's not enough funding anymore. Food banks closing because there's too many people going, not enough service that they can offer. And I'm gonna be in severely huge trouble because of that. And I'm at a point that it's compromising so much my mental health, my physical health, that I don't know what to do anymore. And I created GoFundMe. I created a lot of stuff. But yeah, this movie saved me.
It saved me because it's the same life. And when I first saw this movie at the theater, I was in total shock. I have the same emotion than him, the same anger, the same sadness, the same rage against the system. The Murray Franken show is one of the scenes that I relate to the most.
What it's like to be the other guy. You think men like Thomas Wayne ever think what it's like to be someone like me? To be somebody but themselves? They don't. They think that we'll just sit there and take it like good little boys, that we won't werewolf and go wild.
And when I saw the movie at the theater, I was in shock. And I felt the urge of remaking the scenes of the movie. And I didn't understand at that point. Until I finally understood, and I just told myself, this is because it's the mirror in front of my face. So I started role-playing a lot of scenes. Most of the scenes are reflections of the same feelings or the same traumas that I've been going through and that I needed to resolve. And by role-playing these scenes and still feeling a lot like him, not putting on a mask, because I feel so much like him, I am myself cosplaying, role-playing. It's me, but I feel like I'm him at the same time. So in my roleplay also, I go beyond the movie and I dance, I cry, I laughed. I don't do only trauma stuff, but I also want to imagine, what if he got better? What if? And I create a lot of stories, of fan fictions, of stuff that's happening, like challenges that they go through. I was able to go through that. Is at Arkham Asylum, and after it's gonna be like a lot of stuff happening. And when I do that, he's evolving. And when he's evolving, I am too, in my home life. That's because when you do that through roleplay, it transfers into your real life after. And I didn't even know that at the beginning. And it is a technique in psychotherapy called psychodrama.
Psychodrama it's a form of therapy where you put things into action instead of just talking about them. And what's important about that is that we experience things, trauma, happy things, with all of our senses. And psychodrama is a way that we can do some healing or expanding or exploring our world and our issues using all of our senses.
The makeup, I was comparing myself to so much cosplayers, and I was really finding that I was very ugly. My makeup was bad, and I just told myself, give yourself the challenge. I'm not good at makeup. I'm not good. Give yourself the challenge. You never finished a project in your life. You're good at painting. Prove yourself. You're good. Prove it to yourself. And so I started. I was really bitching myself. I was telling myself that it was ugly, the makeup. I did it over and over and over and over and over again. No tutorial. Just watching the pictures of Joaquin Phoenix when he was very skinny to do the role and try to remake the lines and practice almost every day, an hour per day in everywhere. And the music makes me cry so much because it's so beautiful, and the acting, the colors, the cinematography of this movie is just, for me, so perfection. There is not even 1 second for me of this movie that is not extremely beautiful. And also to be able to meet Joaquin Phoenix, For me, that was the most beautiful day of my entire life. I'm always scared to bother people, and I approach. I start talking to the security guy, and I was really emotional because I was seeing him from afar, and I was telling myself, you cannot meet him, come on, you know, it's a Hollywood actor. And I saw him going outside with his assistant. So she came to see me, and she said, do you need something? And I felt, hearing that question, I said, oh my god. I said to myself, I bother them. Because it's my fear of bothering people all the time. But I was still very emotional, so I told her that I was just very emotional and that I wanted to talk to Joaquin, saving my life. And that I'm really struggling, and I really wanted to take a moment with him. And there's a specific scene wherein he walks slow motion exiting the subway, and the way that he walks and the look on his face is, for me, the scene that represents the most the confidence I want to have. And it works just by role playing it. It helps me standing my ground, putting my boundaries with people. It's magical. So his assistant says, oh, okay, I'll be back. So little did I know, she was talking to Joaquin, and she said, get up, come on. Oh, okay. So we went to the clinic to test to see if I had the COVID, and I didn't. So she gave me a badge, and she said, so okay guys, so her name is Marjolaine, and she's gonna meet Joaquin Phoenix. She's gonna meet Joaquin. I was like, I'm gonna what? At this very moment, I did not dissociate it. I'm pretty sure I just died. And I felt exactly the same as Arthur meeting Murray, but it was a kind Murray. So I went on the bench and I sat, and I saw him coming. And he said, how are you? I said, well, I had worse days. How about you? And he said, oh, well, you know, I saw you sitting there alone, and I wanted to go see you, but you would have been like, yeah, but who the fuck is that guy? And I was laughing, and he said, no, but that's true. And into my mind, I was like, I'm a girl, a nowhere girl. Yeah, I'm invisible in the corner, and you want to know who I am? What the fucking hell? What's happening? And I was saying, I just really wanted to thank you, and I was trying not to cry, but it was impossible. I was shaking. I was really, really, really touched, because I was like, is that a robot in front of me? Because it's too surreal. Tears like falling down my face over and over, and he came next to me, and he wrapped his arm around me the whole time that we talked for at least 30 minutes. And I just told him, I just really wanted to thank you, because you don't know, you did a movie that saved my life. Because you know, Arthur, what he ran through, I have the same mother as Penny, on a lot way worse. And I always felt misunderstood. I always been different. I wasn't laughing on stage because I had an uncontrollable laughter, but I have severe panic attacks. I was severely bullied. I was a mascot, fireman dog. I've been a clown for as long as I can remember. I did the Clown Fest in New Jersey in 2011. And seeing you on screen, watching you on screen, the way that you show these emotions are so real, because you're so good at showing them. And You saved me. I felt less alone. And I explained all the rest, and he just burst into tears. He prepared me an avocado sandwich.
Done a one-off painting. It's of myself from the Joker movie.
Gary?
Yeah.
You were the only one that was ever nice to me.
The winner has been drawn, and it is Marjolaine Robichaud from Canada.
Of the world?
Here's the sandwich.
Oh, thank you. Oh, they didn't give it to you?
No.
Oh. Because I never thought I would see you, so that's why I wrote a letter. Yeah, so I wrote a link because I explained one thing. So I wrote a link to the process. But thank you.
This is not only a character for me. This is not only Joker vs. Arthur. There's a lot of layers for me in this movie. There's a lot of complexities, and there's a discourse right now that is really bothering me that I need to address. And I do believe that it goes beyond the movie. It goes into a societal problem and into a morality that people put to towards people who are marginalized and that have been victims of society treatment. And I understand that everybody has their own responsibility, but there's a certain limit to that, you know? So I think that's the part of the discourse that I really don't like, that we need to address. Yeah. And I've been hearing the same discourse with Luigi, the guy that shot the CEOs. The same thing people are asking me. Oh, so you're agreeing with shooting a CEO? I don't agree with that. But you cannot be surprised after everything that is going on. You need to address the violence and the number of people that he has been treating like that. There's a discourse on paying for the paying the price for his actions. I have a new idea. What about restorative justice? And a lot of people who really like the second movie are talking about the fact that they like that he pays for the actions. I don't think you really got the message of the first movie. Probably the message that Todd really forgot. But it was about having empathy for someone who went through severe trauma and what happens when that to someone who goes through that. So that was the message of the movie. So you're not supposed to punish him like that after, you know? So that's one of the reasons I don't like. And second of all, there's another thing in psychology called the shadow self, okay? They literally said that in an interview, that he's accepting his own, his true self, Joker, but they are the same person. And you guys, as Todd, think it's a good thing to repress his shadow self and the comments that I received, yeah, so you think you know better than the person who created the movie. No, I don't think I know better. I just think it's wrong. I might, we can disagree. Am I gonna go dox him? No. But we can disagree. Even if I really love the first movie, and to those who are, it's because you really didn't get it. You have to understand the psychological elements of it. Girl, seriously, bitch. there's a lot of reasons why people don't like a movie. There's layers. Um, the plot of the movie, I think, was weak. Every time that I really wanted something to happen, it was about to happen, but okay, okay, okay. They never went deeper into the psychological aspect. When they were in court, a lot of you guys said, yeah, well, the psychiatrist said that he had no mental illness. Do you understand that it was very wrong of him, that he was a very bad psychiatrist, that he spent only 80 minutes with him? But they never got a specific diagnosis. And for the videos that I've watched that said, over the comments that I've read, that says, oh, well, you can actually see that he doesn't have the, like, split personality, you know? I have something to teach you guys. And I don't expect any of you to know that, okay? There's a reason for that. Because the media doesn't give a good portrayal of that disorder. So, flash news, I have this disorder. Most people don't even know that they have this disorder first. Why? Because it's covered. It's the actual goal of this disorder to be covered to prevent trauma. Split personality, which is not really the name that it's called now, it's more dissociative identity disorder. So the way that it's explained in the media is not really well explained, but it's because it's really still, there's a lot of stigma about that, around it. You don't have control over it also. And I am extremely sure, more than anything, because I have it, I see it, nobody can convince me otherwise. He has dissociative identity disorder. What? Is Joker alter is violent? That's a good point. Okay, yeah, so a shadow self, it's a shadow self and an alter is two different things, but sometimes people can have a shadow who is violent because it's repressed. So the reason it's repressed is because maybe the person needs to work on it, right? Therapy. You can provide therapy to the person. It's preventable. Yeah. What? He should have managed his emotions. Okay. Yeah. He should have picked himself by the bootstraps. Okay, I get it. I would say be careful with that language. It's very harmful. And I don't think it's very helpful. Why? Neuroscience of trauma. Does that mean that it's excusable? No. What would be the best solution? That's a good question. Okay. Restorative justice. Do they get accountability? Yes, they recognize the actions that they did. That's the actual goal. But it's restorative. It's not punishing. And it's actually healing communities. And it's way better. So just now, I'm going to put a video explaining what is it about restorative justice. And at the end, I'm going to add how fictional characters can help your mental health, but also Janina Scarlett is the person who learned me why I really connected to this character. Okay, so I want to address one thing. The movie really triggers me a lot. Okay, it's hard for me since I saw the sequel. it's really hard for me to talk about it. Because the first movie it's the same life story in details, and it triggered me to the point. It took me a long time, but it triggered me to the point of developing two other authors who are Arthur and Joker. And they served a very specific purpose each. Because I really, really feel the same, and because we are really alike, we are co-conscious. The rest of the authors is too intense. My life is too stressful right now to acknowledge the rest of them. But Arthur really, served the purpose of keeping the trauma memories, and Joker serves. Sorry, I'm dissociating right now. It's a lot for me to talk about that, but Joker serves the purpose of assertiveness. Like I said, there's a lot about this disorder that is still stigma. People think that it's like the Split movie, that is gonna be really like you're gonna see the splits and it's gonna be a different voice, like clothes, and it's not like that. It's very covered. Sometimes it can be just like a twitch of the eyes, or like something changing, and sometimes it's so unconscious that you don't really realize it. It's different for every person, but the very reason that I really had issues with the movie and with the comments that I received is because when people told me that there was no Joker, it's impossible for me to say that there's no Joker. And they keep telling me that I'm toxic and that I'm like Lee. And I'm like, you don't even get it. You don't get how I deeply appreciate and love and protect Arthur with all my heart. I mean, I cannot relate more to someone. And because I relate, I would be like a toxic incel, you know? So for me, it's very bad a movie to give me the middle finger, because I'm like, I'm sorry, but your movie saved my life. Your movie literally saved my life. And in the most beautiful, creative way. Like, this is a movie that, for me, became a tool for societal change. Like, what can we do in order to prevent that to happen? We have more empathy. We provide resources to people. Like, instead of just calling him psychopath or something, because he's not. I'm not excusing his action. I see you. I hear you already, okay? Psychopath is not that. First of all, in the DMF5, there's no psychopath word. And, like, it's antisocial, I think, like, I'm gonna search later, but the person, like, the type of disorder that you're thinking has no empathy, okay? And he has too much emotions for that. So, it's a very complex situation with very complex solutions. But first of all, we just have to address the thing that the system itself is very violent, and we should point the finger to them also. So yeah, the first movie, if you saw the video that I posted like just before, okay, in this one, it became the very tool that changed my life and that I want to use as a tool. I use this as an expression also of my authors. But for me, there's nothing toxic. I don't think also that movies inspire people to do violent things. That's the same thing as Manson and satanic panic and stuff like that. Okay, so for me, everything that is in the movie is extremely hurtful, because is it also still a portrayal of a lot that is going on in my spirit? I am still going through a lot of injustice, ableism. I'm facing jail time, like with welfare, because I'm trying to survive. I've been through severe, constant abuse in my life. The way that he is looking is really looking like the pain that I have, the tiredness that I have, the way that he's abused. I mean, why I am feeling like this is because I really feel that he deserves better. It really makes me emotional. And the part that he has abused with the guards, I am very severely dysregulated in my nervous system, so I dissociate chronically. Okay, I chronically I have depersonalization, derealization. Okay, so I know what it's like. In that bed, this man is completely like, when people say that he gets stabbed at the end, for me, he gets stabbed right there. This man there is completely broken. So I understand when people say that they saw him remove Joker with Gary. For me, that's actually really something that helped to make him realize. Is it good that he realized? Of course it's good. It's good that he realized. I just don't believe in the punishment that you guys talk about. For me, the scene with Gary was very nice, very beautiful. And it makes, for me, it was more like a realization of, you see how trauma can impact not like the victim, but the surroundings. But you guys keep on talking about that. You see Arthur always bad. And no, it's, for me, it was a portrayal of, like, you know, there's the generational trauma with the, like, the family and stuff. So for me, it was not about punishing someone. It was more about a message. Why are you so much about morality and punishing? It's wrong. It's really wrong. It doesn't serve people. It doesn't serve communities at all. So, yeah, it was really, you cannot say that Arthur didn't have empathy in that scene. When he said, Gary, what do you mean? I like you. Like, I say I wouldn't hurt you, and I didn't. And like Gary says, like, you know, you didn't hurt me, I can't sleep. Like, and you see Arthur really feeling bad. And after that, when he says, do you know what it feels like, Arthur? And he turns, you cannot tell me that Arthur doesn't feel guilt with the tears in his eyes. If you tell me that he doesn't have guilt, I'm not sure what to tell you, but I think that you don't have empathy. Because I see the guilt in his face and the tears. Maybe I'm nuts, but that's what I saw. And for me, when he says that there's no Joker, for me, what that means, it means that it's right after the abuse. Do you remember what they said during the abuse? Oh no, just before. Drop the act. I said drop the act. Drop the act. And what did they do after? Towel in the face. Drop the act. Drop the act. After, he's completely broken in the bed. What does happen? The inmates that he's friends with get killed.
Look in your face makes you better than us. You have no fucking idea what it takes. Put a little bit of joy into this fucking place. Let me tell you what I used to do about my mother. You can drop the act.
You can drop the act
We
now.
know it's funny after the day, okay? He's an illegal, abusive guy. Yes, and I asked her, I said, Mom, why you stay with your abusive boyfriend? And she says, he's not on me! I told you to drop it!
I told you to drop it. Why don't you have your drink first?
You're gonna buy me a drink first.
Let's go, let's go! Let's go! Fucking right. Oh, mind your business, woman. What you got to us? Shut the fuck up, Ricky. The Saints are coming, Jackie. The Saints are coming. Oh, when the Saints, oh, when the Saints, oh, when the Saints go marching in. Shut the fuck up! All I want to be in that number. Get fucking out of there. The Saints go marching in. Come here. Fucking come in now, alright? Fucking asshole. Are they coming now?
This man's nervous system right now is completely broken. His nervous system has reached its maximum. I'm sorry. But if you're telling me that this is not the reason he represses Joker, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It's too much that you see Arthur. Can you just put on the side, like, can you just not think about the audience? People only want Joker for a second. Can you just think about this character for a second? For real? This man go to sit just in front of the jury. Someone who, like, I don't think that someone who's coming to tell, like, it takes only taking responsibility for the murder. I don't think the reaction would be something like that. This man is in severe despair and broken. He goes to sit in front of the jury, looks at the camera. There's no Joker. Not only that, read between the lines. What is waiting him at the end? He knows very well that he's going to have the death penalty. And that for me means, as in the first movie, he was supposed to, but he did to Marie. That for me was his suicide. That for me was, that's too much. I cannot win with the system. Like, you know, like everybody says that, like, I cannot win with the system. That for me, yes, it is. But the Joker is still there. It's just, there's no Joker. There's no Joker, not because there's no Joker. There's nothing. Joker part for me is as important as Arthur, and both deserve empathy. This is not the king of chaos. This is a coping mechanism that people have a lot of stigma with, and that needs and deserve care. That is preventable. And me in my fanfiction, because I save Arthur just in time, I'm giving him and myself the care that we both deserve.
Uncommon thoughts and emotions present an even greater risk of alienation. When our ideas challenge societal norms, they're often labelled as dangerous, best left unspoken if we wish to fit in. Emotionally, society expects us to maintain a facade of happiness, or, at the very least, neutrality. Admitting to difficult emotions makes others uncomfortable, so we mask our true feelings with the well-worn phrase, "I'm fine," even when we're anything but. Ironically, this avoidance of discomfort, both our own and that of others, prevents us from confronting, healing, or integrating these hidden aspects of ourselves. This failure, while harmful on an individual level, becomes catastrophic when magnified across society.
Comment reads, old host? The host can change? Is the host not the one who was born first? And I'm assuming that meant to say formed first. So no, what you're describing here is core theory, and it's not how DID works. So the way a lot of people think about it is that we have one whole identity, and then bad things happen in childhood, and the brain starts putting up barriers and breaking this whole separate thing apart. But in actuality, we are born with separate parts called ego states. So this one might be sad, this one is hungry, this one is happy, etc. Now, around the ages of 7 to 9, these ego states are going to form down into that one cohesive identity. But if you are experiencing severe trauma in childhood, your brain is going to put up barriers between these pre-existing parts to try and protect them. So there is no core, there's no original alter. We all started out as separate parts that didn't get to form into one personality. How many parts there are, the strength of the amnesic barriers between them is going to vary system to system and vary over time as new alters will split off or fuse down, but there never was one original part, one original host. And in fact, some systems don't even have a host. I'm not positive, and it's really hard to tell because we have such poor recollection of our childhood, but it seems like there's a decent chance that we didn't have a host when we were very young. It wasn't until we got older and needed to have more consistent day-to-day memory to get through school that we started having hosts take over the position. And I'm not even sure exactly how many hosts that we've had. I think that we've had at least 3 or 4. I am a fusion of a couple of alters, we think including our last host, but I'm honestly not even sure of that. So yes, hosts can change over time. They can split, they can go dormant, they can fuse. You can end up with a co-hosting scenario. They could swap out temporarily and then come back. There's a lot of different ways. And also, again, a system might not have a host at all. And the idea that there is one singular alter that everybody else split off of, who is like the center of the system, is just untrue. That's not how DID forms. Hope this was helpful.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's superhero therapy. Written by Paul Daniel Torres. Today we're going to be talking about the benefits of superhero therapy, specifically through the story of Dr. Janina Scarlett, a licensed clinical psychologist who survived Chernobyl radiation and immigrated to the US when she was 12. As a child, she grew up in the Ukraine. When she was 3 years old, she and her family were exposed to high degrees of radiation from the Chernobyl disaster. Her health had been changed forever by this. Her body is now incredibly sensitive to changes in weather, like rain, and changes in radiation, like meteor showers. These leave her extremely ill, in some instances so ill it's life-threatening. When she got to America, she was bullied by other kids for being radioactive. This is when her love affair with superheroes began. As she watched the first X-Men film, she saw how Storm's power was connected to the weather just like how she was. Storm quickly became her favorite superhero. She saw just as the X-Men, she was a survivor, and like them, she can take control of her destiny instead of being controlled by her past. The reason the superhero genre is so important is that it is based on the fact that we all dream of having powers at one point or another. Whether it's super speed to get to school on time or super strength to stand up to the school bully. Because of these desires, we connect to those characters with powers. Since humans are social creatures, they want to be understood and supported, but it's hard to open up to other people, especially when it comes to mental health. Through finding something to connect with, for example, a superhero, we're given that understanding and support, which will hopefully serve as a vehicle for healing. Dr. Scarlett hopes that by connecting to superheroes, it gets rid of the stigma around mental illness. People will stop seeing themselves as mutants and instead see themselves as the heroes they really are. This is the basis of superhero therapy. Dr. Scarlett says it involves using pop culture in evidence-based therapy in order to help people deal with or recover from different mental illnesses. By connecting to their hero, they connect with their core senses and values. Many people feel held back by their circumstances such as poverty, physical disability, or mental struggles. Sometimes they also have a hard time connecting to things they care about. For example, creative work, family, and friends. This therapy is designed to help people not only better manage their struggles, but to become their own version of a superhero using the skills and abilities they might already have or are able to learn along the way. The therapy is also transdiagnostic, which means it can be applied to any mental disorder. As well, people don't have to be veteran comic book readers. It can vary from characters like Harry Potter to Rambo.
I can ask you more questions, but I don't want to deprive our wonderful audience of clinicians, mostly, if they would like to ask you anything. Emily, do you have any questions yet?
Oh, of course we do. We've got lots already. Marjolaine, you had a question. Do you want to unmute? Oh, sorry. Let's just get you unmuted. There you go.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first, it's kind of emotional for me right now. I'm not sure how long my question is, but you know, me, I started last year to have an obsession about a movie, which is like Joker, 2019.
Yeah.
And it's basically just like the story of my life. Like it's the same abuse with the mother. It's everything. How the system's treating me. I was like, I became severely obsessed with it, and I started to do like the cosplay about Arthur and Joker, the character. Now it became like a therapy for me. Like I do the scenes of the movie, and like I can express the emotions I was never able to express before. And I'm just wondering at what extent it can be negative, you know, because like I almost do it every day. And I was wondering, I started a website about this. You know, I still have a lot of anxiety. You can see it now. I have like severe trauma, agoraphobia, social phobia. I have no access to therapy. I started a website to help other people. Like it helped me, but I don't know like what keywords to use. It is like superhero therapy. It is like hero's journey, psychodrama. I was just wondering. And also, I just wanted to add, like, for the first time, I felt understood by someone, and it was like Arthur and Joker in the movie. And I met the actor, and I talked to him about it. It was a big deal.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for asking that question. And honestly, thank you for this incredible movement that you started, because I imagine that you're definitely not alone in this. The movie did well, and it did well because it resonates with so many people who survived abuse, who survived trauma, who didn't get access to services, who were neglected by the system. And I'm so glad that you found something that spoke to you in this way. And actually, I don't think there's anybody that can tell you what's healthy and what's not healthy. It's what works for you. And it sounds like for you, in having this daily, almost like a mindfulness practice in connecting with this film, it's allowing you perhaps, I don't want to tell you how you feel, what I heard anyways, that it's allowing you to feel less lonely and more accepted and more mindful, more present, more grounded. And now you're doing this to help other people. I think that's incredible.
I think it's because a lot of times people focused on, I've been called a psychopath. They said like, yeah, but he's murdering people. And I'm like, yeah, but me, I focus on, you know, there's one scene in a movie when he walks like out of the subway, slow motion. And for me, the scene is the key scene the vibe I want to have.
Yeah.
And it started to work.
You know,
And like,
go ahead, please.
I met the actor, and Joaquin Phoenix, and he just like exploded in tears, and he said like, I never heard that before for a role.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I'm so glad you brought this up. This is something that I'll definitely be talking about in the training. This question comes up a lot. People, therapists, for example, will sometimes ask, okay, but my client likes the Joker, for example. Should I be worried about whether my client is going to do something violent? And the answer is absolutely not, right? We like who we like. There's a reason why we like certain characters. In the decade I've been practicing this, maybe I've been lucky, but whenever I ask my clients, what makes you like this particular character, I've never had somebody say, I like that they kill people and I want to do that too. What I've had people say is, I can relate to this character's origin story, right? Which sounds like that might be the case for you. I've had people say, I like that this character doesn't have to answer to anyone. They can do whatever they want, right? They have their own schedule, their own rules. Whereas for a lot of us, we have a very rigid lifestyle, right? Get up, go to work or go to school, right? Come home, do homework or help the kids with homework, rinse and repeat. But villains don't have to do any of that. They do whatever they want. They're fun, right? And also, villains are sexy. They're just cool, right? There's just something fun in this like vicarious invitation to be naughty. And I got to tell you, I've been using villains to help people find their voice of assertiveness. Like Kylo Ren is one that I use a lot in therapy in terms of helping people find that voice of standing up for what they believe in, especially for women, because a lot of women have been taught that we're not allowed to be angry, which is not true, of course. Anger is an important emotion. And so we work on experiencing anger, right? Connecting to the dark side, practicing assertiveness, but without killing people. So the idea is to actually find that connection, which you have found, right, with Joker, to find that part of ourselves that maybe has been neglected and misunderstood. And I'm so glad that you found it. I'm so glad that you shared it, because I imagine there's probably at least one other person that feels the same way, even if they're not able to say it just yet. And I imagine that everything you do, say, and share is probably helping more people than you realize. And you probably saved a life and you probably don't even know it. So thank you for what you do.
Oh,